Hello, welcome to the Overdrive database tutorial. My name is Dawn Wilbert and I will be walking you through this course today. This is a self-paced course, so feel free to go through the tutorial as slowly or as quickly as you wish. If necessary, you may need to return to a previous slide, and that's fine, you may do that. We will discuss using Overdrive at home. However, these instructions may be utilized wherever you have internet access. During this course, you will learn what Overdrive is and how to use it. Overdrive is a leader in the digital library industry, allowing libraries to lend ebooks, audiobooks, periodicals, and stream videos to its users. Depending on the library, however, all of these services may not be offered. Music, videos, and periodicals will only be offered to patrons if the library has purchased those items through Overdrive. Also, users need to be aware that even if a library offers streaming video, it is important that the publisher has authorized its use for the patron's device. Overdrive supports reading on more devices than any other company and has more than 2.6 million titles. They also work with over 5,000 publishers. The services provided by Overdrive are utilized worldwide by schools, libraries, and colleges. And Overdrive also has an application that allows users to access their library's digital library from their devices. Supported devices include Android, Apple devices, Chromebook, e-readers, Kindle, Kobo, Mac, MP3 players, and Nook. Overdrive was acquired by Rakuten, a Japanese e-commerce company, in March of 2015. Rakuten owns another company called Kobo, which is an e-reading device and service. Based on an article from Library Journal in March of 2015, Overdrive and Kobo intend to work together to enhance their abilities to deliver world-class digital content and reading technology services. Utilizing the resources of both organizations will benefit users by creating services that are easier to use. Accessing content can only get easier. The hope is that more content and services will also be available in the future. Changes are on the horizon for Overdrive users. A new platform will be introduced soon that will allow users to access digital content faster and with fewer steps. This ease of use will benefit patrons and allow more individuals to access Overdrive's content. Interesting to note is that while I was in the process of creating this presentation, new services have become available within Overdrive.
My instincts drove me in the opposite direction.
We were a big deal, and we played our game in a different world.
To get started using Overdrive, there are a few things that you need to do before you log into Overdrive. The first thing you need to do is to be sure that you have a library card from your local library. The card should contain your membership number, and you'll also need a password that will allow you to access your library's online card catalog from home. Typically, your member number will also be on the back of your membership card that you received from your library. And you will need to ask your librarian about your password and what it will be. In the case of the Rome Public Library, it will be the phone number that you provided when you registered for your library card. Your next step is going to be to go to the Overdrive webpage. So you can type in www.overdrive.com. And when you get to the home page, you will need to scroll down just a little bit, and it says Get the App. So you need to be doing this from the device that you want to download Overdrive 2, the application. So if you are on a Nook or an Android or an Apple device, you need to use that device to go to overdrive.com and then click on Get the App. The screen that comes up for me right now says Get Started, and that's because I've already downloaded Overdrive onto this device, which is my computer. If you have not downloaded Overdrive, this button here, instead of saying Get Started, will state Download, and that's what you want to select to download Overdrive. Once you've gathered your library information and have downloaded the Overdrive app using your device, you should navigate to your library's card catalog. Once you're there, using your member number and password, log into your library's catalog. From there, you may begin searching for your next great read. Once you've gathered your library information and have downloaded the Overdrive app using your device, you can now navigate to your library's card catalog. So in the case of Rome Public Library, the catalog address is https, and that's rome.biblionics.com/catalog. And once you're on that website, you're going to want to enter your member number, which is your card number right here. And so I'm going to enter my number. Right there. And then, like I had mentioned before, your password is more than likely your phone number unless you have changed that. And so this would have been the number that you provided when you registered for your library membership. And then select Login or hit Enter. All right, now it's showing me that I am now logged in and what the number is. I can now go to my account if I want to. I can log out, and there's other things that I can do. Just briefly, there are some, obviously, books scrolling across the front, and when you put your cursor on them, they stop moving. And some events that are happening at the library, but if you scroll down a little bit more, it says electronic resources available to logged in users, and one of those resources is Overdrive. So once you get to this point and you have logged in, you can select Overdrive and the North Texas Independent Consortium, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but this is one way that you can access ebooks. Right now, though, I'm going to show you how to search for a book. So come over to the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to search for a book that I know is an internet ebook, and it's called it's Kiss of Deception. And that should be by Mary Pearson. And there it is showing. Okay, so I see the book here. It is showing The Kiss of Deception. It's in the children's area. I've got my spine label and the title. And it's showing me if the book is in and how many there are. But that is not the one that I want to select. If you'll look down a little bit farther, here's the book again, but the location now says Internet. The label says Overdrive, and it says it's an Overdrive ebook. And that's what you want to make sure that you're selecting if you're wanting to get a book for your e-reader. And we can go ahead and click on any area there and scroll down just a little bit, and it's going to open more details about that book. When selecting a book, be sure the location states Internet Overdrive. and the title says either Overdrive Audiobook or Overdrive ebook. Click on the book title so that it opens a drop-down menu that will be shown, that will show the detailed information regarding the ebook or audiobook. You're going to scroll down and select Download this item, and when the new page displays, you'll select Borrow. At this point, a new page is going to come up and the book has been placed in a list of books that you've checked out. Then select Download and select the appropriate format, or you may select Read. Another method for downloading ebooks is to go to overdrive.com. An option is going to be displayed to find libraries near you, or you can select the option in the top right that says Find a Library. Either one will take you to the same location. So select one of the options, and then you want to put in the zip code of the library, or you can put your personal zip code and it's going to give you a list of libraries that are near you. So I'm putting in our zip code for the Rome Public Library, and the list of libraries is going to come up. You will notice that the library is here as well as the consortium. So you will be able to go to the consortium website, or if you select the library, it's going to show you on the map where the library is located, which could be good information. And then when you select Visit the Library, it's going to take you to the same website for the consortium, which is a group of libraries that share a database. And so you're getting the benefit of books that other libraries have purchased. You will have access to those. Also, Overdrive has a new feature. They are beginning to have one of the a book club once a month, and there is a book that's selected, and the book that's selected this month is American Sniper. And if you want to participate in this, you can borrow the book, and there's no limit to the number of people that can borrow that book. So that's a really good feature to have. One more way that you can sign in using Overdrive, other than Find a Library or Find Libraries Near You, is to come in the upper right corner and select Sign In. So I'm going to click, I'm going to click that option, and it brings me to a page that says Sign In. Now I have options here. I can sign in using a library card, I can sign in using Facebook, or if I've signed up through Overdrive specifically and created a different email address and password, I can enter that way as well. So I'm going to select sign in using library card. Let's go back to that page for just a second. It also says to make sure you use the same method each time, because if you download books into when you've signed in using your library card, and then the next time you sign in using Facebook, you may not be able to see that download. So again, select sign in using library card, and it's going to ask you for the library's name. You can also find it by location, which, you know, zip code and city will be, city state will be what you want to enter there. And I've typed in the library that I want a couple times, so I'm going to just select that from the drop-down menu. Otherwise, you can just type in Rome Public Library, or select one from the drop-down menu, and then select Go. So now the page that displays. It says find your library, and it has a drop-down list of libraries. If you do not see your library, then you may want to come back up and search by location. But this is the library I do want, Rome Public Library, and it's under North Texas Independent Digital Consortium, and that's important to know. So we'll look at that in a minute. So I'm going to click on the library that I want. Now it's asking me to sign into your library. So now I have a drop-down menu of all of the libraries that are in just that North Texas Digital Consortium, and I'm going to select the library, and now it's asking me to enter my card number, and the phone number or password. And again, it should be the phone number or the password given to you at the library, or the phone number that you used during registration when you got your library card. Then select sign in. Okay, so now it's showing me that I am signed in. I am on Overdrive, and it's showing my name over here as well. Now, this page looks different than the other pages that we've logged into in previous screens, or that we'll log into in the next couple of screens. And for this reason, I do not recommend you logging into this website, because at this point, if I come down here, I can select a book. This book may or may not be in my consortium. So I'm going to click on that, and it's telling me that it's unavailable in my consortium. So I can't even check that book out. So unless I'm showing my consortium, I'm going to have a lot of books that are listed that I may not be able to check out, and I'm going to get frustrated with that. So what you need to do is come up here and find a library. Again, you can search by name or location. This one defaults to location, so I'm going to enter the zip code. And here is my consortium and my library. So I'm going to click on the library. It's going to display over here on the map. And when I first came in here and selected this option, instead of saying delete, said save. So you're going to want to save that. And then come over and click on North Texas Independent Digital Consortium. Now I'm on that website, the North Texas Independent Digital Consortium website. The problem is I'm not signed in. I signed into Overdrive. I have not signed into this consortium website. So I now need to select sign in, select my library, and select go. And now it's asking me to enter my card number again. And I've typed it in before, so I'm going to just arrow down and select that, and then enter the password, and select sign in. Okay, so it didn't take my login. Let me try it one more time. Select my library. I'm going to type my whole card number in this time. And enter my password. And see if that works this time. Okay, it does, and you'll notice that it says sign out now, and that's how I know that I'm actually signed in. Once you're on the consortium website, the first thing you'll probably want to do is sign in. It's easier if you just go ahead and sign in right away. So in the upper corner, select the sign in. It's going to ask you to select your home library. And so we're going to scroll down and we're going to select Rome Public Library and then go. And now it's going to ask for our card number. So enter that. And then your phone number or password. You're going to enter, it's probably going to be your phone number. And I do not want this to remember my information, and click sign in. Okay, so it's not working. It's saying my login has failed, so I'm going to try that one more time. Sometimes this may happen because I chose the wrong phone number. Instead of my home number, it may have been my cell number. So let me enter the information again. And it looks like maybe I had entered my card number wrong. And sign in again. Okay, great. It has now come back to the consortium website, and it's showing sign out up here on the top right corner, which means that I am obviously signed in, even though there's no other distinguishing information that tells me that. So at this point, I can come down and scroll down and select a book that I want to read. If I do want to read this book club book that they have for the month, I can go ahead and borrow that. Or I can continue to scroll down and look at some of the categories that are listed. We've got the most popular books. Those are the books that have been checked out the most. And if I want to look at more of those, I just select View More. I can continue to scroll down. And these are books that have recently been added to the consortium's website through one of the libraries. And again, we can view more of those if we want to look through those books. Here is a group of books that have been recently returned. And we can come over and view more. Hidden gems are books that have probably been out for a little while and kind of been forgotten about. There's a category here for staff picks. And those are the different categories. One thing I want to mention is I had mentioned previously about the American Sniper book, and you can borrow it, and it doesn't, as many people as want to read that book can select that book to read. Most of the time, books have a limit on them and can only be checked out one at a time. So if somebody has The Martian already checked out here, for example, then I might not be able to check that out. So that's a really good feature for this book of the month, that 2 people can check it out or 100 people can check it out at the same time, and you won't have to wait for the book. Now, if somebody had this book, The Martian, checked out, then I would not be able to check it out until their lending period had finished. So now that I'm logged in, I can select any book that I want to download, and read. So let's go ahead and select Allegiant by Veronica Roth. And I have a couple options. I can just run my cursor over it and it comes up with some options. I can go ahead and borrow it from this point. It has a sample that I can read a little bit of it to see if it's something I even want to download. I can add it to my wish list if I want to keep browsing. Not sure I want to get it right now. I can share the book, and there are more options. So let's click that and see what's listed. Okay, so this is going to take us into the details for the book. If I had selected the book, it would have brought me to the same screen. So this is telling me that this is book 3 in a series. This title can be borrowed for 14 days, and we can also change our lending period. So I'm going to select that. Now, the ebook has the option of 7 days or 14 days. So if you think you're going to be able to read it very quickly, you can change your lending period to 7 days. And the audiobook also has 7 days and 14 days. So if you want to change that, it's going to default to 14 days. On the maturity levels, you can select a range of books that you want to view. If you only want to look at juvenile and young adult books, then you can make that change here, and those are the only books that you will see. You will not see mature adult books or general adult books. On the other hand, if you only want to look at adult books, then you would exclude the juveniles. You can also make some other changes here as far as the cover images that you want to see, high contrast, and some font options. All right, so we want to stay with the 14-day lending period. So I'm going to go back to the previous page, and I want to borrow this book. So I'm just going to select borrow. Now the screen that's displayed is asking if I want to download and how I want to download it. If I have a Kindle, I can download that. If I have a Nook or another e-reader, I would select the EPUB book. And that's what I'm going to do here in a second. The other option here is I can select read, and I'm going to read that in my browser. It's going to display on the screen, and it tells me it's going to expire in 14 days. Over here, this information about our account also tells me the checkout limit. Shows me that I have a limit of 3, but I already have one checked out, one title checked out. I can also place a hold on a book, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute, why that might be very important. It will tell me if I have any on hold and if I have put any books on my wish list. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and download this book as an EPUB. Confirm and download. Now down here on the bottom, my book is downloaded. So I'm selecting that. Asks me how I want to open it. And at this point, I'm going to want to get that book onto my Nook. So I'm going to stop here for just a minute, and we will pick up here on the next slide. After your book has been downloaded, it's going to display down here. You can then go to your files into downloads and find the download, which is Divergent. Oh, didn't want to do that. Downloads, Divergent. Right here. Looks like it was downloaded twice. We can double click that. Now, if you're on your device, it's going to open so that you can begin reading it. Now, if I wanted to start reading it on my computer in my browser, I would just click Read. Once you're on your device, however, you can go into your library and find the book, and you can select it and begin reading at that time. So the book has now downloaded. I just click on each of the pages and it turns the page for me, and I can continue reading. We talked about the lending period being 14 days, or you could go in and change your settings over here to be 7 days. So keep that in mind as you're reading to make sure that you can finish in that amount of time. But you can also, if you click on renewals, it says that you will have an option 3 days prior to your book expiring, the title, and you can renew it at that time. If there is a hold on the book, you won't be able to renew it. The book will return and expire, and then you'll have to wait for that other person to return it before you will be able to read it again. Which brings me to the holds. That may be something that you want to do if you are wanting to read a book, because if there are no holds on a book and somebody has that checked out, they can renew their book. So you wait for 14 days, then the book gets renewed, and then you have to wait for another 14 days before you can check the book out. If you place a hold on the book, then you will be able to immediately check that book out once it is returned, as long as nobody else has a hold. So the lending period can only be 14 days with no renewals if there are holds. And keep that in mind. If you want to renew a book and it doesn't renew, it's probably because there's a hold on it and somebody else is waiting to read that book. So there are several ways that you can find help if after this presentation you get into Overdrive and you're having some trouble for whatever reason. I want to show you a few things. First, right here there is a menu where you can, instead of scrolling down to see the different categories, recommended for you, popular, and the different categories, you can come up here and select those categories so that you don't have to scroll down and see all of those. You can select teen fiction. These are in audio though. You can come over here and select teen fiction. The other thing though is that sometimes this may get in the way, and if you want to move that, just select menu, click on that right there, and it goes away. If you want it back, select that again, click on it, and it will come back. So right now I'm going to remove it. Okay, so in order to find help, there is a tab right here that you can select, or an option, and just click on that, and you get a lot of options for receiving help. You can get videos for how to do different things, answers to your questions. If you need help with your applications, you can click here. If you have questions about your library lending policy and changing that, you can click here. We did discuss that a little bit earlier in the presentation. And if you still need help, you can contact support through this link right here. Also, well, let's go into this Overdrive help right here. So once you select that, you will have the opportunity to enter something that you may need help with. So let's just enter download and select search. And it comes up with 224 results that you can look through to see if they will answer your questions. Now, that's a lot of results to look through, so you may want to narrow it down a little bit and be a little bit more specific about what you are having trouble with. But for example, how does the download limit work at a library website, and how do I resume downloads I've already started? So if you select that, it's going to give you step-by-step instructions on what you need to do. And let's scroll down a little bit here. And it's going to provide you with screenshots so that you know what to look for when you're downloading. And if you need to resume an Overdrive, a download of an Overdrive app. Okay, so if that answered your question, that's great. You can close out of that, or if you want to go back, you can then, look at the next one and see if that one is going to be any better at solving your problem that you're having. You can also come over here to these categories and select troubleshooting, and it will provide information if you're having trouble with a specific device. And these are all the devices that are supported through Overdrive. And you arrow down so that you can see all of them. And if you notice over here, it also provides an option to print. So if it would be easier to print that information and then use that with your device to go through everything step by step. One option I noticed over here is to find library support. And this is through your library. So I selected that earlier, looking through here, and I went down and found the library. And it requests that you have this information available in your correspondence with the library. However, at this point, there's no way to submit that information to the library. So this link is not very helpful. So if you need to contact the library, it may be better to go back to the library's card catalog. Okay, let's go up here. Also, I wanted to mention that you can get information on downloading or streaming videos. You also have the information about the different devices that are supported, and there's different categories. I did mention earlier that your library has to support videos and music in order for you to receive them. And not only does it have to be provided through your library, but the publisher has to provide access and approval for it to be used on your device. So even if it is provided through the library, it still may not work on your device. So before you download, you might want to look into the requirements of that specific video. If you have any questions, please contact the Rome Public Library, or you can log into overdrive.com and go through the help information there. Thank you.